Hey, your video is about to start. I just wanted to remind you that we are trying a new pilot of sorts of live Q&A for lunchtime with myself on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Probably will give it a go for about an hour. We'll see how it goes, if it can go longer than that. If no one's around to watch it, I'll just give you a little bit of um, any kind of information sharing tips I have for that day. Although I think our regular 9 a.m. share is going to be coming out as well. But anyway, I hope to see you there. And another reminder that we have our membership benefactor system that you can join if you want to be a benefactor and receive some of the perks that you get with that at the various levels. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Bye. Good morning. So I just had a question about SSI versus SSD. Now, most people know that they are different things. If you've been watching this channel, you certainly know some of the differences, the pros and the cons, and which one might be preferred and which one might be consolation prize. Anywho, SSI and SSD, the question was not about that. It was about whether the process is the same by the SSA. So the scoop is the process of determining if you are medically disabled is the same. It's the same definition if you were found disabled on January 1st, 2025 of being disabled and you had a SSI claim and an SSD claim, that finding, whether it's disabled or not disabled, is going to apply for both as of that day. It might, and any day up through that day, that within the time period you claim to be disabled. And of course, if you're awarded, the presumption is it continues, and they don't look at that again until you get a CDR for the most part. But there is a difference in that once they find the medical determination on the SSI, and that's the medical portion, the same. They do have to do a couple different inquiries because the SSI program has some financial requirements of you, and the SSD program has to make sure that you are insured on that day. Now, generally, they do a little inquiry when you first apply on this second non-medical aspect of your claim, but they double check it at the end. And particularly with the SSI, because finances can entirely change. They would not have pursued you on SSI alone unless their initial overview in the beginning was that you might be eligible for it. Otherwise, they would have sent you a reject on that off the bat. If you had SSD eligibility in terms of timeframes, insured status, then they would have continued on with the medical determination for the SSD aspect. One minor thing I want to just bring up about the medical determination on SSI versus SSD is we talked about the timeframes. The SSD medical determination review ends at the day of the DLI if that date has occurred. It can occur before potentially you even applied. It could be after you applied, but then it expired while your case was pending. It all depends on your work history and when you have those credits that you earned to give you the insured status. So that inquiry of disabled, that finding has to be during the period you were insured. SSI is not the same way. You can be looked at for disability at any time that you apply for SSI. So as long as you get that SSI application in the door, there is going to be no period where we have to see if she's insured for SSI. There is no insured for SSI because SSI is not insurance. It is supplemental security income. It is the needs-based welfare program. So you don't have to have paid the premiums for the insurance for the Social Security program. So again, and I say to people, if you lose on an SSI case, don't feel like you can't file again or it's the end all be all. No, because the next period of time you are physically going to be different. You're probably going to have more medical treatment, which means more evidence, of course, and you are probably going to, I would say, more like the not for chronic conditions, it tends to deteriorate and get worse. Sometimes it stays the same, they can maintain it, but it doesn't usually improve. So if you feel that things are getting worse or your activities are reduced, pain is worse, if you have new diagnoses, I would hop right back in that frying pan and try again for the SSI. Um, know on what basis you did not prevail and go after that kind of evidence to get that changed. And there can be automatic changes that you might be unaware of. Some of you have watched the videos on the grids, the age changes and how that can affect the laws that will apply to your case. So what some evidence that wouldn't have been sufficient at age 49 might be sufficient at age 50. If not age 50, um, age 55. So there's a lot of variables to consider, but SSI is something you can continuously apply for. Obviously, you're not going to prevail if you're not financially eligible, but if you know yourself to be poor enough, you can always reapply. SSD, not the same thing. You can't do it unless you have insured status. And that's what that date last insured business that I always hem haw about is about. So if you're not sure what that is, DLI, date last insured, I would look at those videos. Okay. But anyway, yes. So SSI, SSD, exact same medical determination in terms of the definition and the things you have to meet. It just might be at different periods of time. Okay. Have a good one, guys.
Talk to you later.
Hey, so if the subject matter of the video you just listened to is of interest and you want more on it, stay tuned. Here's another one about the same topic, but a little bit different. Bye now. Hey, so let's review again the difference between SSI and SSD. The acronyms get really confusing, particularly when it's all under the umbrella of the SSA. So SSA is the Social Security Administration. SSI is Supplemental Security Income. It is not Social Security anything. It just happens to be administered by the Social Security Administration, the SSA. SSI is a welfare program at the federal level for those who are two things. They're disabled or aged over 65, one or the other. And the second thing they have to be is financially under a particular threshold in terms of their income and their countable resources. So it is a needs-based program. It is welfare. You do not have to have worked to receive it. There are other, obviously, criteria you have to meet, including the poorness factor. And of course, for most people that I'm referring to today or talking to today, it's going to be regarding disability and not being over 65. 65 is a much easier burden because you don't have to prove you're disabled at all. You can be fit as a fiddle. You just have to be poor enough. Okay, that's SSI. SSD, Social Security Disability, also referred to as SSDI and sometimes SSDIB. That is Social Security. In a sense, it is the right that we gain when we get insured for Social Security and are insured for Social Security Disability, which is a little different than retirement. It is the right to collect your Social Security primary insurance amounts at a time prior to being eligible for retirement. So if you are under full retirement age, currently nearing 67, and you become confirmably disabled as defined by the Social Security laws, such that you cannot work a full-time job at any job in the national or regional economy and work it as defined under the SSA, you will be able to file and likely succeed in obtaining your what would be the benefits you'd get when you are fully of age at 67 now. You can collect them now. You could be 20, 30, 40, 50, anything up to that retirement age. Okay, so if you were not disabled or did not prevail, you get nothing because it's an all or nothing thing. And you might then, your next option for income, if you still can't work, but for some reason can't prove it, maybe you're not getting treated because proof is all about the medical evidence, you would be filing for early retirement at 62 possibly if you needed to, and forego that full disability amount that you would have gotten had you waited till 67. But when we're disabled and we prove it, we file, we're diligent, and we prove it under the standards required, we can collect that age 67 amount, never have to take the age 62 amount, and take it at a much earlier age, even if it's for 40 years early. Okay, so SSI, SSD. And also keep in mind that sometimes we're eligible for both. That would be called a concurrent claim. I say when in doubt, if you are even close to the financial threshold for SSI and you're filing for SSD because you are insured, I would file for SSI also. There's numerous reasons to do that. I won't get into them here, but it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't really require any more effort except that one additional form that you have to file. And it may be something you definitely don't have to regret doing, because sometimes that is the one that ends up being the one you prevail on when the other one won't work out for you. So better to have them both in, because you can't prevail on it if you never have filed it. Okay. All right. That's enough for now. There still seems to be confusion out there about the two programs. I do have videos on Rumble about them, a little bit kind of broken up from what I'm saying here. So I just wanted to condense it all and get it elsewhere so other people can see it. All right. Take care now.